I'm Brittney Saunders and welcome to Big Business, the place where business is far from boring, and today I'm recording on Gadigal land. Now, I somehow managed to build an empire from my garage and I'm here to share it all with you, from the wins, the huge mistakes, the challenging times and funny moments in between. So whether you're in business already, you're wanting to start one, or you're not even in business at all and you're just looking for some inspo, or you simply want to hear the tea, this is the podcast for you. Coming up in today's episode, I have my second ever guest on Big Business, which I'm so excited about. Today I'm going to be chatting with Em Lucin, who is the founder of Napoleon Wear, a women's fashion e-commerce store, and she's also the co-founder of Australia's first TikTok coaching agency, Zesty Agency. Em is also a small business mentor and a TikTok star with over 320,000 followers on her personal TikTok account. And she was one of the first Australian business owners that I ever saw on TikTok, even before me. Em is the silent driving force behind a lot of the small business TikToks you see on your For You page every day, and she lives and breathes all things personal branding and content creation. As I always say, time is money, so let's get down to business. Em, welcome to Big Business.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
So, Em, you were one of the first businesses that I ever personally saw on TikTok, and I remember so specifically the videos of yours that kept popping up. And when I first followed you, it was, come pack a customer's order today. And it was like, you weren't even in it. It was your hands and it was a desk. And I think you were packing like pajamas and then you were writing little notes. And I really fell in love with that style of your videos. Was there a specific moment for you when you said, I'm going to make these TikToks in this style? And was that the first type of video that you were making on TikTok for your business?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty funny that you say I was one of the first businesses that you saw. So don't quote me on this, like don't put brackets Em Lucin or quotation marks Em Lucin, but
allegedly,
we believe that I was actually the first Aussie small business TikToker. And I say Aussie because they were definitely overseas in America at the time. And I've even had chats with TikTok Australia and they were like, no, you were definitely like the first or one of the first. Like you're a really strong presence on the TikTok app and you've helped kind of build what small business TikTok is today. So I actually downloaded the app in 2019 and I swear I didn't know one single person that was on TikTok. I was just watching videos and it was a solely music app at the time. So you know when they used to have like the trending audio and people would like lip sync to the trending audio?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too when it first came out, just like a dancing app for teenagers pretty much.
Which it was. So I was scrolling through and I was like, well, I can't dance and I can't lip sync, so I'm not really going to post anything. And then I was dog sitting my friend's sausage dogs. So I was like, oh my God, there's that song that's like, someone call me on the counter. It wasn't me. So I put like the sausage dog on the kitchen bench and then like I put the sausage dog in the shower. I don't know, jumped on that trend and I got 200 views and I was like, oh my God, I don't have one follower and I got 200 views.
Yeah.
So I was like, this app's really cool. I kind of thought nothing of it, went about my life. And then the reason I actually started posting the content is it's a little bit of a sad story actually. So I launched my business Napoleon Wear 2 years earlier and it sucked. Like I put every single minute of my day into creating, photos for Instagram and trying to run Facebook ads and designing new fun products. Like everything I've made has been custom designed, but I just couldn't reach people. Like the photo shoot photos that I were posting just weren't resonating. They weren't pushing anywhere. I was working with influencers and it was really hard to get followers. Like I think I probably, in the 2 years, I maybe got 1,000 followers on Instagram and I was just broke. Like I was spending so much money and every single bikini sale, because I was just bikinis in the beginning, I was losing money. Like I'd get a sale and I was at a loss. So it was like, yay.
We shouldn't laugh about that.
We laugh now because we're past it and we're through. And that was at the 2-year point. And I was at home crying. Like I was on the couch, laying there sobbing, like full blown, like as if someone had died, because that's what it was for me. Like Napoleon was the only thing I wanted to do. And I can vividly remember the moment I opened Instagram and a Gary Vee video popped up and I was obsessed with Gary Vee and he was like, TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. And I was like, what does he mean, TikTok? And then he said the way that you will succeed in the future on TikTok is if you post entertaining and valuable content. And those were the two words that really resonated with me. Entertaining and valuable. Well, what the hell am I going to post? Like, my bikinis are not entertaining or valuable. So, I mean, they're valuable to me if I sell them, but that's about it. So I got on and I was like, all right, I'm going to start posting some small business behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to pack orders on camera. I'm going to teach people. I don't even know like what I'm teaching, but I was like how to, set up a Dymo label printer, how to weigh your bikinis, what labels you should buy, what X, Y, and Z. It was all educational.
As little as these things are, like they're the things that business owners need to know how to do, like all those simple little things. So you essentially started posting videos on how to do all these little things as a small business, and they might seem silly and small, but all those little things like what labels do I need and what printer do I need, I feel like they're actually really important, especially in those early days of business.
Exactly. It was like, okay, how do you attach swing tags? How do you fold a certain item in a specific way and package it nicely? So the app at that point was still just music. So I was actually doing that in the beginning with text boxes. And as the beats and the music would change, I would put the different text boxes on the screen.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so then from there, the voiceover feature did roll out onto TikTok, and that's probably when you started seeing me most. I feel like that's when my content really started pushing out, and I believe it's because there weren't any Australians really on the app. So when my voice came out, like today I'm packing up an order for Sarah, like she picked the Ibiza top and the Ibiza bottoms. This is my first ever order to Tasmania, so I hope she spreads a good word about my business over there. I'm packing it, folding it up and taking it to the post office. And it was groundbreaking. Everyone was like, wait, what? Like I've never seen a piece of content like this before. So yeah, it was really, really life-changing for me.
I can imagine. And I think it goes to show when it comes to creating content online, like everyone's always talking about organic content and, I can't create that because, how am I supposed to create organic content for my business? But it doesn't have to be, especially now and especially on TikTok, your content doesn't have to be like a big polished production.
No.
It can be something as simple as I'm packing a bikini for Jess in Tasmania today. And people are really, I've found, they're really entertained by these little basic kind of videos. Like there's something about it that we all love to watch.
Yeah, and it's so exciting to see someone, especially like a small business, when they are shipping to new countries and things for the first time. So I think if you are a small business and you're just wanting to document the journey, a simple thing saying is like, this is my first ever order to Tasmania really gets people excited because they're like, yes, girl, I'm in Tasmania too. I'm going to shop now too. So it's these simple little concepts that people don't really think to post that really set you apart on the For You page.
Absolutely. And one thing that I've said in my podcast in previous episodes is when I started my business, I was too embarrassed or scared to show all these little behind the scenes things because I thought that, people wouldn't take me seriously because I was packing orders like from home. And I always say, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have shown that on the internet. And especially if I had TikTok back then, like that's the perfect kind of content to create for that platform is showing how you're setting up your stock in your garage. And I know you've done all that as well. People love seeing organisation, even if it is in the spare bedroom of your house.
Yeah, like my setups are an absolute shit show. And to begin with, I was like, oh, this is low-key embarrassing. Still, when I was based out of Mum's house, Mum was like, don't film the kitchen. We can't show them. The stock is lined up along the kitchen floor. But I was like, no, we are showing them because I want to look back and see where I've come from. And I think people love seeing that it is literally on the kitchen floor, but it's going to be in their living room as well next week. So what's the difference?
Exactly right. Would you say that if it wasn't for TikTok, you wouldn't have a business?
I say very highly likely. I was in major debt when I downloaded TikTok. Like I was struggling so bad. I sold my car. Like I got a new car when I was like 18 or something. I sold my car to put more money into the business. I was selling my dresses on eBay. Everything I had went on eBay. I love selling on things on eBay. And I wasn't reaching anyone. Like I was putting so much work in and going absolutely nowhere. So TikTok gave me the ability to reach big communities and people who were interested in seeing the small business behind the scenes. Like, yeah, if the app didn't exist, I don't think I would have got much further. I think I would have tried because I really love what I do. But I honestly, like, I was giving up. That day I was on the couch, I was done. I said to myself, I'm taking a week off. But I was taking a week off. And that week could have turned into a month. It could have turned into a year. Who knows? So, yeah, TikTok is life-changing. Everyone needs to be on it.
I remember when TikTok came out and we all downloaded. I feel like TikTok came out a lot like earlier than we think it did, but I feel like we all didn't jump on it, especially in Australia, until like years after. But I remember being on there, and it might have been like just before COVID times or something, and I had it, and I had a personal account for me, and then we made one for Fade as well. And we posted a couple of things here and there, but I felt like I didn't belong on TikTok because I thought, that we were too old and it was this like kiddie dancing app kind of thing. And I think a lot of people still may feel that way, especially because we've all been stuck in Instagram world for like the last 10 years. Like going over to a new app, you can feel like, oh, I don't think I should post on TikTok. But I feel like you're a living example of business owners need to be on TikTok in 2024, and you don't know unless you give it a go. And I just think it's such a great app and platform for business owners to have and to be able to create that organic content that everyone loves.
Exactly right. I think a lot of people had fears and doubts in the start. I was actually working for a company at the time, and before I even went viral, and I kind of said, guys, we should get on TikTok. We should get on TikTok. And this company did like collaborations with AFL players and stuff. And I was like, oh, like some of the AFL players are on TikTok. Like, I wonder if they would post one. And they're like, these companies are now on TikTok, but back then they were kind of like, nah, like that's just for kids. Like, we're not gonna get on it. And I was like, oh damn. I was like, but I'm gonna get on it anyway.
There's a place for everyone on TikTok, honestly, and it doesn't matter how niche you are. Like, there's a niche on TikTok for that. There's an audience of people that would love to watch it, no matter what it is.
Exactly, and it's the consumers, right? Like, a lot of the creators might be on the younger side, like 35 and under or so. Mm-hmm. But like, my mum is obsessed with TikTok. She's turning 60 this year. So I bet a lot of mums are on the app watching and consuming. So no matter the age, like, you should, if you feel like you've got personality or you want to try and create fun, engaging content through video, get on there because the audiences are there.
Absolutely. So you just mentioned something that I wanted to bring up with you. You were working at another business whilst starting Napoleon. And I feel like that's a reality for most business owners, is you can't just quit your full-time job to pursue your business passions unless you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars just laying around and you can quit your full-time job. But the reality for most is you are going to have to work full-time to have that income coming in while you're building your business on the side. And that's obviously one thing that you did. And what did that look like for you? How long did it take for you to really get Napoleon up and off the ground while still working full-time?
Yeah, quite some time. So I was originally working in a bank, like a head office of a bank. Mm-hmm. And it was my third Christmas, right, that I had to kind of work through at this bank. This was like how I kind of started Napoleon. So I can vividly, like I always say vividly, but I can remember sitting there like so upset. It wasn't Christmas Day, but it was like the day before or something. And no one was there. It was just me, like, sitting at the desk, and I was like, what? This is so sad. And I know people work Christmas still, so I mean, I'm very grateful now that I don't necessarily have to do that. Mind you, I turned on my Boxing Day sale the day before Christmas still, so I'm still working. But I can vividly remember sitting there being like, this is so sad. Like, all my family's at home, no one's in the building. Like, why do I have to be here today doing this nothing? I'm literally sitting here. I tell you what I was doing, and I was sitting there, I was typing into Google how to start a business, where to find a swimwear
on
manufacturer. On the clock. Sorry if you're listening. And I that was the moment where I was like, I just want to start a swimwear business, and I'm going to give it everything and anything. And in my mind, I thought I wouldn't have to work every day, but now I work every single minute. But in that moment, I was like, this is going to make me able to work less, and I'm going to be able to do the things I love and enjoy. Did that. And then I think it was a year later that I actually got offered a job as digital marketing coordinator for a watch company. Now, I didn't study business. I didn't study marketing. It was kind of a mutual friend at the time who owned this company, and he was watching what I was doing on my social media, which was very similar to what he was doing on his social media, because he was my major inspo. So he was probably like, she's copying me anyway. Might as well give her the job. So he gave me the job, and then I worked there full time for another 2 years. So I had Napoleon for 3 years essentially and was working full time for those 3 years
And
as well.
what would a day look like for you during those 3 years that you were working full time? Were you then going home and getting straight into Napoleon?
Yeah, it was hectic. I still feel kind of sick when I think about how I did what I did.
Yeah.
So I would, my alarm would go off at like 5:45 a.m. I wouldn't shower because I was like that exhausted. No hair. I mean, no hairstyling.
No
my
hair.
makeup. I was bald. I just looked like shit. You know, my skin was bad. I was eating McDonald's every night. Anyway, I would wake up and I would walk to the train. But in my bag would be a couple parcels. I'd have like 3 or 4 parcels. But there was no like letterbox, you know, out the front of my house. So I would get on the train. I'd have all the parcels with me, the 3 or 4, which I thought was like life-changing at that time.
That you'd packed the night before.
Yeah. And the station that I was on, it was pretty close to the city, but it would always be jam-packed. So I'd be like having people's freaking armpits like in my nose because I'd be standing, you know, trying to hold these. It was just chaotic getting on the train. I would get off the train and in my walk to work, I would be on Instagram. You know what I would do? I would follow people. I would go in like Bondi Beach, right? Click on the pictures and follow all the girls that went to Bondi Beach because I thought, okay, they're going to get a notification with my logo. Like at least I'm doing some sort of marketing.
Yeah, that's clever. Going
I
and
would just
finding your customers that way, just follow them. They're like, what's this brand that's followed me?
Yeah, I used to be following so many people. I was following 6,000 people, which was
Oh
a
my
lot.
goodness.
I had like 1,000 followers. No wonder they all thought I was a scam. Then I would pop the parcels in the letterbox. I would work my shift. I would work my lunch break. Then I would do the same thing on the commute back to the train. I would follow people on the train. Then I would probably post my social media stuff, like do my stories, Get home, Uber Eats, because I barely cooked because I was so obsessed with the business. Then I would get on my computer and I'd probably work till like 1, 2 a.m. And that was like
Wow.
3 years
3 years
straight.
of that.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think as crazy as that sounds, I think that is the reality of starting a business on the side when you are working full time. And as crazy and wild as it is, like I think that's what most people do is you've got to hustle at it to make it work to get to that point. And at what point did you go, was there a moment where you thought, I think I can quit my full-time job? And when was that?
Yeah, that was, I'm going to say 2021. So I rebranded from Napoleon Swimwear to Napoleon Wear. Before I rebranded to Napoleon Wear, you would have already seen I was doing pajamas and trackies anyway. So it felt a bit weird when someone was tagging a pajama and the brand said Napoleon Swimwear. So like the rebrand was quite a big deal. But it really was TikTok. It got to the point where, you know, I was doing a couple sales a week to like, I don't know, like I think it was something like 30 a day. Like I got to a 30 a day point and sometimes today I still only do 1 or 2. Like I'm a very honest girly. Like I like to keep things real, like in that day or something. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I can easily pay myself some sort of a salary now. And it won't be this, like I'm still not on what I was on when I was working full time. Like I'm still on less. But I pay staff now as well and things like that. But it was at the point where I was like, okay, I can take, you know, half of my salary and I know how much a TikTok video can make me. Mm-hmm. So it could be 1 hour of my day that could make me 30 sales. Yeah. That's all I need. And I didn't have an hour a day. I was getting home at 5, 6 o'clock. I don't have time to film.
The sun's going down. There's no natural light. And then you got to whip out the ring light and it's never the same.
Yeah. It's so shit. And like I didn't have energy at that point. So it was the moment where I was like, okay, I can pay myself a little bit and survive. Mm-hmm. And then I said, what worst case scenario, I'll go make coffees a couple of days a week. Mm-hmm. Like there's always another option. I don't have to have a really cool job. I can go, I mean, making coffee is actually a pretty cool job.
Yeah, it is.
Talented. But I mean, it doesn't have to be something that people like are really showy offy about. It's like, yeah, Em makes coffees and she tries to sell bikinis on the side. Let's see what happens. So it wasn't the matter of quitting my full-time job was the end of working for companies. It was like, okay, I'm going to try and go full-time. And if I can't go full-time, I'll get another side hustle. Mm-hmm. That was what I thought.
And you haven't looked back?
No.
I think that every business owner does have that moment where they make that decision to do that scary, crazy thing and it feels so unsure at the time and, you know, it's a huge risk. But I think when you feel that and you think, you know, yeah, I think I can pay myself a little amount, to make this work. Like, I think that's a defining moment for a business owner. And, you know, if you have everything in order, like usually it's from after then that it will then continue to skyrocket. But you've got to make that really scary decision in order to continue to grow.
And I was never afraid to, you know, because I was renting at the time. If I have to move back home, I'm very blessed that I have a mum who will take me back. You know, I don't have to be paying rent right now. I think at the time I was like 26, I think. At the back of my mind, I was like, I've got a supportive mum who, if I can't pay my rent to live out of home anymore, she'll happily have me come back and live at home so I can work and save towards my goals and my dreams. Like, and I think some people don't have that. Or other people, you know, I mean, maybe they do have big passions, but they're afraid of what people might perceive of them or like think about them. Like, let's say they do have a great job and then they're renting or they've bought a house, but they don't really care. They hate their job. They don't care if they have a house, but they care about other people's opinions of them.
Yes.
So if everything did go to whoops and they had to move back home, they might not want to risk that because of what other people think. The whole time through, I've been like, I don't give a shit what people think. If I have a terrible job, if I'm back home broke, like at least I've given it my all to try and have this business because I love it so much.
Absolutely. I think that's what business is all about, is being fearless and not like, everyone has a natural fear of what others may think. And it's one of the things that like drives me insane that we are like that as humans. But I feel like when it comes to business and if you have goals that you want to achieve, you kind of have to let go of that fear of judgment. And especially if it is something that you're really passionate about, it's just about following that passion and simply not giving a shit what other people may say, because at the end of the day, like, who cares what they say?
Exactly. It's not their life. It's your life.
Absolutely right. You mentioned before, so you were working in a bank and then you were working for a watch company doing their marketing, but you also mentioned that you obviously don't have any qualifications, which neither do I. And I feel like a lot of us business owners out there have no qualifications in absolutely anything. How have you managed to teach yourself all of the marketing elements of business? Like, how has that looked for you?
Google. YouTube. Google and YouTube are the big two, definitely.
Yep.
And it's just trial and error. Like, you've really got to actually just get out there and try and then see what the results are from trying. Like, is it a fail? Is it a win? And then kind of learning as you're going. So honestly, yeah, the first year was just Google and YouTube. I tried to teach myself Facebook ads just from watching this guy on YouTube. He brainwashed me, mind you. Probably wasn't the best learnings, but I did learn how to set up ads through this guy. So that's a win. YouTube.
Yeah.
I found all my like manufacturers and things just through Google searches. And it really is just trial and error. Like the first year I did get ripped off. I paid way too much for manufacturing, which is, you know, why I was at a loss with every purchase that I made. I priced my products way too low because I didn't understand what it actually took to run a business. And
I was the same. And I remember, especially in those early days, I wasn't working out our pricing like mathematically. I was like, oh, well, if this costs me $25 and I sell it for $50, then like I made it $25. Like, but
that was me.
And I think that's all of us. And you also, again, you kind of have that fear of judgment of customers as well. Of, oh, what if someone doesn't want to pay $50 for that? So then you make it a little bit less, and you're kind of doing it out of a fear of people saying that's too expensive or I'm not paying that, when really you need to be pricing your pieces, you know, at a price that's going to keep your business running at the end of the day.
That's exactly right. I still sometimes do this. Like I see it and I'm like, oh, I feel bad. Like I'm just going to make it a little bit less so people don't get upset with me. I still do that.
I think every business owner experiences that. I still do that too. I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's just a top, like, you know, but it's just the way business works.
Yeah.
And what would your advice be to others who do feel as if though they need a formal education to succeed in business? I think some people do have that in their mind of like, oh, I better go do a uni degree or something. Like, what would your advice be to people?
I've answered this question before and I don't like to like say it in a negative way or something. So I apologize if this comes across a little bit negative. But I feel like I don't know. I didn't go to uni, so I don't have the learnings and the knowledge, but some of the learnings that they have there may not be super current and up to date. Like I've spoken to a few people, and even when I've tried to hire and things and you ask some specific marketing questions, like it's like they're learning how to create billboards and the the Herald Sun. I don't know what sometimes they're learning.
No,
Okay,
I agree.
let's go.
Especially with how modern we are, this modern world of social media and organic content. Like, can you really go to uni and learn how to make organic TikTok content? Like, I don't think so. I think the only way that you can learn to make that, like you said, is by just putting videos out there and giving it a go and trying and seeing what works. And I've said this before on my podcast as well, but you'll post 99 videos and then when you finally get to video 100, that'll be the one that does well. And then you're like, oh, okay, video 100 did well. I'm going to keep posting that style of video.
Yeah, it's like learning on the go, and you definitely don't need to, if you're passionate enough, like if you are passionate enough, the internet is a very big place. You can learn anything there, and you can learn it for free. As long as you've got Wi-Fi and you have some sort of device, it can be just a phone, you can learn anything. And that's what I did. So I'm very grateful that I didn't go to university to do a marketing degree. I actually did a TAFE course. I don't know if people know this, and I learned how to scuba dive. I did scuba diving every Friday. That was fabulous.
What? Wait, you went to TAFE for scuba diving?
Yeah, so
Oh, what?
don't ask questions. It was a scam. I don't know. No, should I name drop William Inglis? The course doesn't exist anymore.
Wow, a TAFE course for scuba diving. You learn something new every day.
I always wanted to be on a resort. You know, the cruise ships, and then they'd have scuba diving instructors.
Right.
That was my dream job. So.
Wow. And look at you now.
I'm not on a cruise ship, and I wish I was. No.
Could you share with me what you would consider to be your key strategies that you've used, not only to grow your own business, but others as well, specifically on TikTok? Like, what are your key strategies for TikTok?
So many.
I know it's a big question to ask.
It is. So I have like a content coaching agency called Zesty, and the main thing that people do when they come to us is they've got a small business. It's usually small startup, or maybe they've been running for a couple of years, but they're struggling to reach bigger audiences. They come to us and they say, I want to get on TikTok, but I don't want to be the face. Like, I don't want to have a presence. I'm scared of the camera. I'm shy, but help me. Like, what can I do? So the main strategy is, if you can be the face, it's the best possible option. One, because no one cares about your business as much as you do, and you are constantly going to be able to turn up for yourself and turn up in the most organic, perfect way to represent your brand. Two, if you are a startup business, I don't know how the hell you could afford to hire someone that could post a TikTok every day or 4 TikToks a week. I don't know what the frequency you want is. I recommend daily. I know I couldn't afford that back then. So that's why I became the face of my business. Mm-hmm. So those 2 things are quite a valid reason already on why you should be the face. But, you know, you could hire someone, or you should, even having an internal team is great. But let's say you hired a content creator and then they start creating content for 5, 6, 7 different brands, or, you know, and they're not landing because it's a million different faces popping up on the feed all the time. It's like, okay, let's say Em makes content for a shampoo company, and then she makes content for a socks company, and then she's trying to make content for, you know, you don't want to hire
It's not coming across as authentic if you're seeing one person promoting so many brands.
Exactly. Or what if they do post for you for a month and they do really well and then they quit and you're like, oh, now I don't have a face anymore. So having someone inside the company is number 1 tip. So if it's not the brand owner, it's someone who's got a really strong interest in the business. Mm-hmm. Then from there, it's like, okay, entertaining content is key. People actually don't want to be sold to. So when they get home from work at the end of the day and they're on the toilet or they're like on the couch, the last thing they want to see is an ad. They're like, yes, I can't wait to see Em do a tutorial on how to tie the bikini in 7 different ways. Actually, that's a pretty good concept compared to what some people are posting. Some people
they don't want to see you just like posting here's my bikini, you should buy it. I feel like that's the way that social media used to be, especially on Instagram, and businesses maybe, let's say 8 years ago, did have a lot of success on Instagram where they could just post a pretty photo of their product and it would sell. It would convert into sales. But it's not like that now. Like, if anything, consumers will see that and scroll right past, or they'll go, oh, that's an ad, unfollow.
Literally, yeah. People are smart. They don't want to be sold to. They want to be entertained. So we say entertaining content should be at the key. when people get home, you want to be the Kardashians, you know, you don't want to be the ad break. You want to be like, when I'm watching the Kardashians, I am hooked for the entire episode. If there's an ad in the middle, even on YouTube, if there's an ad, I want to hit that skip button as soon as possible, right? So if you see an ad on your For You page, you are swiping as quick as humanly possible, or you're holding it down and saying, I'm not interested. So you want to be that form of entertainment and not the ads that are placed in between. Educating, if you maybe don't have an e-commerce store, if you run like a coaching business or a service or a brow studio, a hair studio, how can you educate people? You know, this brow color suits these 3 hair tones, or I don't know, here's how to contour your face to look sculpted for this Saturday night. You know, instead of just being like, here is my bronzing tan with SPF 50. You can use this instead of using serum. You know, like, I don't want to sound like an infomercial, but teach me how to contour my face and I will watch your video. So that's maybe how you could try and sell your product again. Vlogging and documenting like the small behind the scenes of your business. Giving shout outs to customers. Like, I see you do it all the time. Like,
people love it. People love
it.
being shouted out in a video. And I've noticed as well, if we pack someone's order, then we'll get a bunch of comments going, can you pack mine? I just placed another order. Or like, I placed an order this morning. Can you pack mine on TikTok? And then it will just create this chain effect of people wanting to see their order be packed.
It's so sweet. You do it so well. Like, I love watching you pack people's orders and like throwing things at the camera.
Yeah, that was something that we started last year. I need to get back into that. I haven't done it for a while, but yeah, the aggressive packing. And then I find, especially with the aggressive packing, like then people get really angry, and that is great for engagement if you can piss people off.
Yeah.
Because then they'll comment going, don't throw the jeans around like that. And just anything that you can do to get people commenting is great.
Yeah, I feel like the negative comments turn into great value at the end of the day because they keep pushing your videos really far. Love it. And then the last one, which like you've kind of got 2 ways you can run your TikTok channel. You can run it like you've got the Fate channel, right? And then you've got the Brittney Saunders channel. So I have just Em Lucin. I don't even have a Napoleon Wear channel, and I should, but I don't.
It's like you've gone too far almost.
I've gone too far. I can't come back. But if you do want to go more of the personal brand route as like a brand owner, I recommend my favorite content pillar is what we call a niche interest. And that's thinking, all right, like, who is my target customer? And when they get home from work at the end of the day, what do they actually want to watch? You know, are they having a wedding? You know, are they wanting to watch wedding planning content? Are they moving house? Are they wanting to learn how to do home styling or how to organize their cutlery drawers? Are they into books and reading? Like, what is your target customer actually interested in? And creating as much of that content as possible. And if that resonates with you, like I'm obsessed with reading and books and movies and fantasy and all of that, it's even easier for you to actually turn up every day because you're not like, what am I going to film today? It's like, oh, my Booktopia book came. I'm going to unbox it on camera. So building your personal brand by filming what you want to film. And then if that also resonates with your target customer, it's a recipe for success.
I think, was it you that I saw, you kind of did that strategically where you started making videos about the books that you had bought because you knew you were launching, was it a sleepwear range or something along those lines?
Yeah, I'm too honest with how I teach people my marketing strategies. But so I do love reading, and that's something that I just didn't always document because I did think it was a little bit nerdy and had nothing to do with Napoleon Wear or my personal brand. And reading is not nerdy, guys. Like, it's the coolest thing you can do. They're all my besties. So I was not showing that side of my personality. And I was really excited about designing these book lover pajamas because I thought they were so cute. They had all these hand-drawn illustrations of books and teacups and things like that. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to start showing this side of my personality because I'm a strong believer on your customers don't find you. You have to find your customers. And the easiest way to find your customers is by creating content that your customers are actually interested in. Mm-hmm. So how was I going to sell book lover pajamas when I don't even know if my community right now like books at all? Like, maybe they want poodles because I know they all like poodles. But so I was like, all right, I'm just going to start showing this real part of my personality, and every book I buy, every month I buy a new book. So I'm just going to open that book on camera, and then that's one video per month on that. I'm going to start showing the books in my vlogs. I'm going to start doing a book review every couple of months and show people what I'm putting in my book journal. By simply just documenting the books that I was buying, got me millions of new eyeballs on the book talk side of TikTok. And then those pajamas sold out back to back, bang, bang, like in minutes. So
very clever. Very, very clever. So far in our chat, Em, we've touched on a lot of positives in your business journey and a little bit of negative, especially when you were mentioning, those first 2 years and you wanting to give up. But one question that I always love asking fellow business owners is, have you ever had a business blunder that you could share with us?
I've had a lot.
I think that every business owner can confidently say that. There is no such thing as business without a million blunders.
No, that's right. Every month there's something, I swear. But
yep.
I think the biggest one that might resonate with more people is trying to run Facebook ads in my first year or two. Everyone kind of says, run ads, run ads, run ads. You spend this much and you make this much. And you see so many people posting their results from running ads. Like, I spent $3,000 and made $75,000. And you're like, whoa.
It seems too good to be true. Maybe because it is.
Maybe because it is. So I honestly pretty much started running ads the month I launched my business. And I did that by trialing, but I didn't really know what I was trialing. I was essentially just boosting anything that I would post on Instagram or anything that I would post on Facebook. I just hit the boost button.
Oh,
and
no. And our advice to any business owner out there, if you are new and you're wanting to do ads, don't do it through Facebook by clicking boost, because that is just like throwing money into the air and it just pissing down with the rain. It's just... That's not the way to do it. You need to properly set up your ads in the Meta Business Ads Manager, in the back of it. That whole boost post thing is honestly a scam.
Yeah, and I learnt that the hard way to begin with. So I was doing that. I was boosting, and I would randomly just be like, I'm just going to chuck $100 on it. $100.
Oh, no.
What am I doing? This is not Russian roulette. Not Russian roulette. What's the other one? The casino roulette. You don't just put money down and hope for the best.
That's what it is, though, and especially with that boost button. And the sneaky thing with Facebook and Instagram is it will go, this post of yours is performing well. You should boost it, and then you will reach 300 times more the audience. And when you do that, it's so easy. You can set how much you want to spend. It's like, how much do you want to boost this for? In your instance, $100. And it will say this will reach this amount of audience. And it's going to do that. It's going to put that post of yours out to a wider audience. But the thing with it is it's just going to be a bunch of randoms. It's not targeted towards who you want to actually target.
That's right. Don't do it, people. Take that as lesson number 1 here. And then lesson number 2 here is I really laugh at this. I'm actually so embarrassed. When you start getting emails from random marketing agencies.
Oh, no.
Pitching to run your ads for you and telling you that, you've got potential, and they make you custom videos reviewing your website and telling you all the ad results that you can have. Don't trust them.
Oh, I get those daily still, and I just write back and say, do not email me ever again.
Yeah, don't trust these people. I'm sure there's plenty of trusted ad agencies out there, but in your first 1 or 2 years, you have no idea, so don't take the risk. So I did that. I signed a contract with a company, and I think it was a 4-month lock-in or something.
Mm-hmm. They always get you with the lock-in contract as well.
Yeah. Then they had an agency fee, which was, I think, $3,000 a month.
It's insane.
I was in debt, mind you. And I agreed to this.
And was this through someone reaching out to you in an email, just saying, hey, this is us, this is what we can do for you? And they make the emails very convincing. They'll go, here's some clients that we're working with and here's the results that we've gotten from the ads and here's a custom video for you. And they'll go on your website and do a screen recording and be like, hi, Em, I'm on your website now. And it just all seems so amazing and they've done their research. But this is just their marketing tactics to get you in the door, put you on that long contract and then get that $3,000 a month off you for the fee, and that's their business model.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's really sickening. So then on top of that fee, you have to pay for the ads, right? The ads aren't inclusive of that cost.
No, that's just additional.
Yeah, and they were like, all right, you need to spend minimum $2,000 a month, minimum. So before I knew it, I was locked into $5,000 a month. And this $2,000 a month, the ads were terrible. The copy didn't sound like me at all. The content I had wasn't even good back then. The photo shoots were terrible. My website was terrible. So it was just a recipe for disaster. People were coming to my website, and I don't know who these people were. They were bouncing because the website was so dodgy. So I feel like if you're going to invest in ads, the best thing to do is figure out what content performs first organically. So by creating organic TikToks, testing, okay, how good has this video done on TikTok? If it's done reasonably well, I'm now going to test it in a Facebook, a meta ad. But maybe try and learn yourself. Like I tried a little bit, I didn't succeed, but instead of investing in $3,000 a month for an agency fee, is there a little masterclass you can take or a course at a lower cost? Maybe you are spending $150 to learn some skills. Then you go and trial and error. And then if it pays off because you've already tested the content on TikTok and Instagram and it's done a little bit well, maybe it will then pay off in your ads. If you really want to run ads. I don't run ads right now. I'm still traumatized to this day. Every now and then I'll switch an ad on, but it'll be on for a month and then I kind of switch it off again. My bridal range ads do really well because the audience for bridal is really easy to target.
Yep.
I'm just still super traumatized from that experience. So it set me back about $30,000, and that was all a loan that I got from the bank. So could you then imagine, like I didn't have $30,000. I was then $30,000 in debt, and every product I sold from there was to pay back that debt.
Wow.
Like I wasn't able to just go purchase more stock. Like that money was like, okay, I got to pay back the loan. So it was really quite traumatic. So every area of business now, I'm like, I need to learn the skill first before I hire anyone to take that skill off me, because how can I teach someone from what I don't know, and how can I trust someone for something I don't know?
I think that's really important as well for business owners. I know it's hard, especially if you are juggling a full-time job and trying to build your business, but learning as much of it all as you can, because I just feel like you're future-proofing yourself and your business then, because just say down the track, like you do have a lot of employees. If someone's sick one day, you know how to do all those things.
Exactly.
So then you can just jump in. For example, last week our brand manager was off sick for the whole week, and she does our EDMs, like our email marketing. I was like, no worries. So I did it for the week because that's a skill that I learnt myself in the start. And like if all of my staff were to disappear tomorrow, I couldn't do it all because it's quite big now, but I could do every single job in our business, from the warehouse to the stores, office, email marketing, social media, ads. Like it's really important to always know how to do all those things. And I think it gives you so much more appreciation for your business to be able to understand how it all works and, of course, jump in when the help is needed.
That's exactly right. And then you value all of those roles more as well, because I think you're like, okay, I know how hard it is to do email marketing, to design the emails, to write the copy, to make it look a certain way, to make it click through. Like, you know how long each task takes.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone's like, oh, it's going to take me a whole day to do that simple task, sometimes I'm like, yeah, it actually is going to take a whole day because it's quite a big task. Or sometimes you're like, I don't know if it's going to take you a whole day. It's going to take 10 minutes. So like you can get a good gauge on how long things are going to take as well, which I think is valuable.
Exactly right. Now, I've mentioned this already on the episode. We've spoken a lot about personal branding, and we hear so much of personal branding on social media. How would you say that your authentic approach has helped you on social media, and what does personal branding actually mean for those who maybe don't know?
Building a personal brand is the best thing I've ever done for my business Napoleon Wear and just for my life in general, because I think it's so much fun. So I get on camera and I post, daily vlogs, and it can be anything. I can just be running errands at the supermarket. I can be doing things for my small business. I can be opening new books, like I said. And you're building a community around who you are as a person. And it's great because you can just be yourself. Like I can do absolutely anything and everything. And because I've been true to myself this entire time, so far, touch wood, I don't get any real hate or judgment for it. It's like, she's half an hour late, but that's Em. She's always half an hour late. Like she's honest about that in her content. So it's like, it's fine. Or, I've got like my Pokemon teddies and my Barney teddies, and I play my Nintendo Switch on the weekend. And it's not like, oh, that like you're too old to be doing that. It's like, yeah, Em, like that's like who Em is. And people get on board it and they're like, oh, I love my Switch too. You should play this game. Or, oh, did you see they're selling Jigglypuffs at, this shop now? And people really get involved and like kind of jump into my personal life and really want to be there and a part of it. I even get tagged in videos. Every Pokemon video on TikTok, someone's tagged me in it. Like, so it's fun to build your personal brand up around your personality, because it goes a really long way, and a lot of people can relate to that, and it helps them be a little less self-conscious about maybe what their hobbies and interests are, because if Em's talking about Pokemon, well, they can talk about Pokemon too. And it's like, that's just like the fun part of that side of my personality. But it's also been great to scale multiple businesses kind of through the one platform. Like I've been able to launch Zesty, which is my content creation coaching agency, Lucin Co, which I just do really small business mentorship. I love that for people because I had no one to ask questions for back in the day, and I love being that resource for other people now. Then I've got content creation. I create videos for Adobe, for Logitech, for Samsung. Like there's so many little brands that I've been able to create content for that align with my personality. And then I've got Napoleon Wear. So building a personal brand isn't just about like, oh, like this is Em, but it's like, oh, this is Em and this is what she's been able to achieve. Like a small business mentorship thing over posting Pokemon content. Like that's pretty cool.
You're really out there doing it all. I think one of the things that I've noticed when speaking to people that do want to, build a personal brand is people always say to me, oh, but I'm not interesting enough. And like, I'm boring. Like, and I'm sure you get this with Zesty is that's like one of the most common themes is people thinking that they aren't interesting enough or cool enough or they've got nothing to talk about. But I mean, go and look at any of the most successful YouTubers that we've seen over the last decade. They're vloggers just posting about their day-to-day life. Like you said, going to the supermarket, showing a book that you bought. And it is the little boring, mundane things that we post about, but it does so well because people relate to that. It's familiar to them to be posting about these little things. And I'd say like there's no one that's too boring to make content. There's something that you can make content about. It's just a matter of, again, posting those 99 videos and you'll find out on video 100 that that's what you need to make videos about.
Exactly. Like what is your number one hobby or interest? Post about that because when you wake up in the morning, you're probably going to be doing that thing already. So that's already one piece of content right there. Or if you're someone who's just maybe working from home or has an office job or, you're someone who loves going to the gym, it's like write down a list of all the tasks that you're doing that day. If you can't think of ideas, just write down a list. Are you designing an email? All right, write that on the list. Are you packing orders? Write that on the list. Is new stock coming? Write that on the list. Yeah, are you going to the gym? Write it down. And that's 5 videos.
Exactly right.
Right there. So you're not doing nothing. You're really busy, but like hopefully you can get the camera out in somewhere in the middle and capture those busy moments.
I feel like the main takeaways from this episode is look out for scams in your inbox when it comes to agencies and the importance of learning to do everything yourself. And I love that you've been able to share your story of the realities of working full-time and then building a business on the side. And I think it's a testament to show that you can't give up in those moments where you felt like you were going to give up, when you were on your lounge crying, saying, I can't do this anymore. And you chose to just keep going and look at where you are now. I think that's amazing. And I think a lot of business owners do have that moment where they are on the lounge crying, and that is that moment where they do give up, and that's where the dream ends. But I think it's really important to just keep pushing through in those times, and then you will eventually have that breakthrough. Do you have any final pieces of advice to our listeners today when it comes to, I guess, building a business in general, and especially like when it comes to things like social media, TikTok, and creating that organic content?
I think it kind of falls off the back of what you said just there, but business is not an overnight thing. It's not something
it's
that
years. It's
Yeah.
years.
You can't just launch and then in a month expect to have all of these customers. And that's something I think a lot of people go into business thinking, or you're going to make all this money instantly. But something that I live by to this day, and it is another thing that got me off the couch that 2 years ago and still gets me off the couch. Last month I had a bad month. It got me off the couch last month. And I have passed this point now. But the thing is, if you truly want your goal bad enough, give it your all for at least 5 years. If you have a 5-year mindset in your head, like, okay, I'm not going to make $1 for 5 years. I'm not going to be able to achieve X, Y, and Z for 5 years potentially. If you want it bad enough, you will achieve it in that time frame. Like if you really, really want it, that's what it was for me, and that's what it got me through 5 years. I'm going 6 now. It was, okay, that's fine. You know, it's only been 3 years. Let's go another 2. Let's go another 2. Like I really wanted it badly, and I got to that 5-year point, and that was like, you know, when I could pay myself a normal salary and things like that. And I got into my warehouse at the 5-year point. I didn't get a warehouse in 1 month, you know, so you do see these overnight successes, but if you truly want it bad enough, give yourself 5 years. And then once you get to that 5 years, in my mind right now, I've got, all right, we're going another 10. That's where I'm at. We're going another 10.
It's crazy because 5 years sounds like such a long time, but in reality, 5 years it goes by so fast. And in business especially, like I don't know what it is, but in business, I feel like time goes even faster. And I remember when we were like signing leases for like our first office kind of thing, and I signed a 3 year and I was like, oh, that's so long, but it just goes so quick. Yeah. It's like there's almost not enough time in each day and each year for business. Like before you know it, whew, there goes 3 years and you're like, oh my God, like I've still got so much more I need to do.
Exactly. It feels like 3 years for me right now. Like I feel like this feels like 3, but it's definitely a hell of a lot longer. And businesses close down. After 5 years, a lot of them are gone already. So, if you can get to that point, you're doing something really well. And it's not an overnight success. So don't believe it.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. Well, Em, before I let you go, I always end my episodes with a tip of the week. It can be business, life, anything. Do you have a tip of the week for us?
My tip of the week is if you're ever out and about and a content idea pops into your head and you don't have time yet to just whip your camera out and film it, pop it in the notes section of your phone and revisit that every couple of days, because you're going to have a hell of a lot of content ideas in there and you're never going to forget those witty moments that pop into your head.
I need to do that as well, because I honestly think of those video ideas when I'm in the shower or just before I fall asleep, and then I'm like, I'm going to remember to make that video, and then you fall asleep, the next day happens and you've completely forgotten about it. So I think that's a great little tip.
I feel like the shower in the car is the only time we actually have time to think. So that's probably why all our ideas come to us then.
Absolutely right. Oh, and well, this has been so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on. You're our second guest on Big Business, which is yeah. And someone actually slid into my DMs on my Big Business Instagram account, and they actually suggested that you be a guest, but you were already on my list anyway. So it's been an absolute honour to have you, and it's been so great watching your journey on TikTok. Let us know, where can everyone find you? Let us know your websites, your businesses, or your ats. Let us know.
I'm pretty much Em Lucin everywhere. So EMLUCIN and then Napoleon Wear. That's the only two you need. You don't need to know www.napoleonwear.com. Use the code. No, I'm joking.
And be sure to check out Em's TikToks, especially if you are a small business owner. Jump on there. You'll find so much inspiration for the kinds of content that can be made. And it's just really entertaining to see the kinds of videos that you do make for Napoleon. Em's amazing at showing the behind the scenes, which people love to watch, the behind the scenes of business, packing an order, moving into a warehouse. Em has all of that over on her TikTok. Be sure to go and check that out. And thanks again, Em, for being on Big Business.
Thank you for having me. This is the best thing ever. I really appreciate it.
Anyway, my friends, thank you so much for listening. And as always, be sure to subscribe to my podcast if you aren't already, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. I upload a main episode every single Monday, and I've got my bonus episodes on Wednesday. So twice a week, I am on your feed. And until next time, remember to chase after your dreams as if they owe you money.